I want to say that I've become a student of your country and of all you've accomplished, and I've been deeply impressed by how far you have come. But as we all know, and this is true in my country as well, the future sometimes seems far away. And I've been in a number of places where the future seemed far away that were successful at finding the future their people deserved. And I want to tell you 3 quick stories about those places, because I think they tell us something about the will of the people and how it is you can find the future that the people deserve. My home city, Chicago, Illinois, burned to the ground in 1871. And the city was in complete ruin. It was the business community then, the Merchants Club, that decided to hire a famous architect, Daniel Burnham, to design a plan for the city of Chicago. That plan, started in 1909, had transportation, city streets, health care, child care, recreation, green space. Said another way, he had everything a plan could possibly be for what a city could possibly be. And Daniel Burnham famously said, "Make no small plans." And he made a very big one. The plan for the city of Chicago was to have been accomplished in 25 years. That was the time frame they thought was necessary. But the Great Depression came along, and the plan was set aside. The plan was taught in the schools of Chicago for 30 years. The school children learned what it took to make a modern world, to make a city work. And to this day, the city of Chicago and the politicians of that city refer to the Burnham Plan as being what Chicago still can be. It was only a few years ago they did more of the plan. So the plan is still being implemented after all this time. Daniel Burnham's request to them and his admonition to us, make no small plans, is something Chicago took to heart. Then there's Singapore. In 1965, when it got independence, it was surrounded by hostile places. Malaysia was threatening to cut off water. It had no resources of its own. It was deeply impoverished. And Lee Kuan Yew made a plan called the Concept Plan to go 30 to 50 years as to what it would take to make Singapore a modern nation. For those of you who have been there, you've seen the result. But Singapore understood that a plan was necessary to do this, and not only a plan, what was necessary were partners, friends, to find the future that Lee Kuan Yew thought his people deserved. And I had the privilege of living in Singapore for a period of time, not while I was a diplomat, but I saw firsthand how it was that a people could get behind a plan, even people that were from different places, even people that were very diverse, could get behind a plan and make a world. I took the Burnham Plan with me. It's a wonderful book. I recommend it to you. I should have brought one with me, but I was traveling. I took the Burnham Plan to Yangon when Myanmar adopted a constitution in April of 2011. I went to Myanmar and I saw the governor of Yangon. At that time, some of our Chinese friends had come in with a plan for the city of their own. They were going to tear it down. They were going to basically build new city where Yangon had been. For those who have been in Yangon, I can only tell you some of the most beautiful buildings I've ever seen. Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore interestingly said he made one mistake. He's a rather proud man. One mistake. He tore down too much. He didn't save the things that ultimately he should have saved, that were about the heart of the nation, that talked about the past of the people, that gave them a place to remember from where they came. And Lee Kuan Yew admitted that was a mistake. And to this day, there is a place along the Singapore River that tries to represent that. But in Yangon, I said to the governor, don't tear this city down. Do what you need to do and keep the old, build the new. He asked me how you could do that. I said, well, there are people in the world that will help with this. And he asked me simply, why would they do that? And I said, because your future is their future. Because what they need is what you need. The only omission on this right now, it's one people, one cause, one institution, one future. Your future, in my view, is my future. We have one future, all of us, and we're going to make it together or we are not. So the governor of Yangon looked at me at one point and he put his finger into the Burnham Plan. He said, I want this. And I said, I can give it to you. And he said, how will you do that? And he said, I will collect friends that ultimately can design the city of Yangon. We'll bring people that can actually make a plan for how you deal with modern transportation and how you deal with healthcare, what you do with regard to green space in the city, what you do with regard to manufacturing and the like. We started that plan. I got the people to come. The same people the same club that did the Burnham Plan in the city of Chicago moved to New York. They started a group there called the Regional Plan Association, and the Regional Plan Association from the city of New York went to Yangon, and with the help of Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, a big architectural firm, they made a plan for the city of Yangon. Unfortunately, we all know now what's happened. That plan has been set aside. Here we are with the Institute. Here we are once again trying to find our single future, our shared future. And so we need a plan. We don't need just recognition. That's the tools that we need. We need the finance. We need the insurance. We need people who come in to invest. We need all of that. But we need a plan. You need a plan of what do you save for that's old? What do you need that's new? And it is the wisdom of this government and of this president that understands that the legacy of our efforts is to build the future that we all need, the future that ultimately is one future. And all I can say is make no small plans, because if there's anything the institution can do, anything we can do, anything the friends in the world that we think will come to your side will do, that is the